What's going on, everyone? Today I've got two big gaming updates for you. One of them is actually really exciting, at least in my opinion, and the other one, yeah, it's not looking good at all. I don't think a lot of people are going to be happy about this one. So let's start with the good news. Alright, so this is something I honestly did not expect. Troy Baker, one of the most recognizable voices in gaming, might be stepping away from voice acting, at least for a bit, to start his own game studio. Now before anyone jumps to conclusions, no, this doesn't automatically mean he's quitting voice acting forever, but it does sound like he wants to shift his focus and start creating his own games. He talked about this on Kinda Funny Gamecast, where he said he wants to tell my own stories, and do it the right way. And honestly, that right there is what caught my attention the most. Because if you look at his history, this is someone who has been part of some of the best story-driven games ever made. We're talking about The Last of Us, Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, Infamous Second Son, and Batman: Arkham Knight. That's not just a good list, that's an elite list. So when someone with that kind of experience says they want to take everything they've learned, the lessons, the mistakes, the wins, and build something new from it, that's exciting. But at the same time, it also raises a big question. Is this a good move? Because we've seen this before. We saw something similar when Bruce Stray left Naughty Dog to create Wildflower Interactive. Now don't get me wrong, that's a huge talent right there. But when their debut project showed up at the Game Awards, it didn't really click with everyone. And for me personally, it just didn't feel like something I'd be into. And that's the risk. When you step away from big AAA studios and start something new, you don't always get the same results. Different team, different division, different execution. But here's why I actually feel pretty positive about Troy Baker's situation. He's not rushing it. That's a big deal. He even said he's seen what happens when people rush into opportunities, and he doesn't want to make that mistake, especially if he's building a studio where other people are depending on his decisions. That kind of mindset usually leads to better results. He also talked about building a team he trusts and working collaboratively, basically saying, here's my idea, how do we make it better? That's exactly what you want to hear. So personally, I don't think he's stepping away from voice acting permanently. I think this is more of a shift, expanding what he does rather than replacing it. And if he pulls this off, this could be something really special. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what his first project looks like. Alright, now let's switch over to the bad news, because this one, yeah, it's rough. Nagoshi Studio is reportedly in serious trouble right now. Their YouTube channel has been wiped clean, their videos are gone, and the only place you can even find the trailer for their game Game of Dragons is on the Game Awards channel. That alone is already a red flag, but it gets worse. Reports are saying that NetEase has pulled funding from the project, and to actually finish the game, the studio needed around $7 billion, which is roughly $44 million. That's not a small problem, that's a massive one. So right now, the game is in serious danger, and honestly, the studio itself might be too. There's a very real possibility that Game of Dragons gets cancelled, and that would be a huge disappointment, because from what we saw, it actually looked like it had potential. But if we're being real, when funding gets pulled like this, it usually doesn't end well. And what makes it even worse is that there were already reports of issues behind the scenes when the game was first revealed. So this situation didn't just come out of nowhere, it's been building. Now I hope things turn around, I really do, but at this point, I wouldn't count on it. At the end of the day, this is kind of a mix of highs and lows. On one side, you've got someone like Troy Baker potentially stepping into a whole new creative role, and that could lead to something amazing. On the other side, you've got a studio fighting to survive in a game that might never see the light of day. That's the gaming industry. High risk, high reward. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think Troy Baker starting his own studio is a good move, or is it too risky? And what do you think happens with Game of Dragons? Does it survive, or is it getting cancelled? Let me know down in the comments.